What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is April 4th of 2022. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, I want to spend some time to dive into the market as we've done one key thing that Bitcoin needed to do in order to continue accelerating in price, and I want to dive further into why I believe we're aligned on going up towards the $60,000 range coming in here in the early mid part of May. So just about a month away from where we are now here in April. We've got lots of things to dive into today's video right after our quick sponsor. Our sponsor for today's episode is TaxBit. The 2021 tax season is here. When it comes to crypto, dealing with taxes can be difficult, but it doesn't have to be. TaxBit helps you calculate your tax obligations on your cryptocurrency activities by plugging in your various exchanges and crypto platforms. With support for over 481 crypto exchanges, you can track your crypto accounts and wallets with ease. And thanks to the TaxBit network, your exchange likely provides free tax documents powered by TaxBit. If you're interested to learn more, check out the link in the description below and start this year's tax season off with ease. Alrighty, everyone. First off, I want to thank you all for the patience over these past couple of days. I've been traveling back to the United States. I hope to do a good video where I can show you guys where I'm staying at the moment and kind of dive into the macro picture of the markets. But I want to go ahead and dive straight into the conversation here around crypto in the sense of the price action we're seeing here for Bitcoin. We've seen this major retest here of important critical resistance in the past over these past couple of months, really taking the capitulation phase of this pullback into new support here where price can start to accelerate higher. And I want to dive further into why this is not only a sign of confidence for Bitcoin, but also for the broader market as Ethereum is further outpacing Bitcoin. So we've got a couple of different things to dive into. One thing I do want to share with you guys real quick that I thought would be really interesting. This is a video that Cointelegraph did, a nice little animated short from the Crypto Stories series that they started a little while ago. And if you guys haven't seen it already, I highly recommend you guys check it out. It gives a very quick kind of 4-minute pitch summary of my past 10 years and how I got into finance. And I just want to give a big shout out to Cointelegraph. They did a phenomenal job on this, and I'm a big sucker for animation. So I'll have a link down below in the description, or you can find it by searching this title here on YouTube. But really interesting story, a lot of ups and downs along the way, but it would give you guys a good background about where I'm coming from and how I got to where I am today. Now, in regards to the setup here, guys, again, as you all know, we've had this rough outline here of the continued correction and continued rally, and everything seems to be playing out quite well. We are still targeting that sometime here going into May, we are going to see a surge here for Bitcoin back up towards that general resistance range around 65K, roughly speaking. And the reason why is because you've got all the perfect technical setups. You get the higher lows here, consistent resistance building up what's generally kind of the same kind of pattern of an ascending triangle. We've got consistent resistance, higher lows. We've come up above there, had the breakout, we made support, and after this it's just a matter of getting the market order flow, and price is going to start to spring higher. Now, one thing that's proving this momentum is heading in the bull's favor, on top of just the price action, is what's going on with Ethereum as well as the on-chain metrics for Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those here. First thing I want to take a look at is the ETH to BTC ratio. Again, as we've discussed, either higher lows or consistent lows here on the ratio over the long term, going back since over the past year, back here in May of 2021. We can see here again that the ETH BTC ratio has gone up from around 0.65 all the way up here towards 0.75. So again, we're seeing a really nice solid amount of growth here. Put it in percentage terms here, back from kind of the capitulation back here in May. We can see here that we're up 18% against Bitcoin here just over the last 4 weeks alone. So again, big reason why I've been emphasizing this idea of focusing on Ethereum. Why we did the video the other day talking about this one specific cryptocurrency that will likely outpace Bitcoin. And it's again a great medium risk, medium reward profile. We talk about it even more in the latest Dash report. If you guys are interested, you can check out the link down below in the description to kind of dive into that if you guys like some good written content. And we also cover a whole range of different things around top picks in the market, things like that. But yeah, I think again, it's going to be very difficult to beat out Ethereum this year, especially once we break out of this kind of sideways consolidation channel we've been in for the last year. And that's really something that I think is important to understand here before we dive into taking a look at the US dollar chart and the on-chain metrics, is something we wrote about within the newsletter a while back. One of the plays that we talked about was Radix. It was a new layer 1 blockchain protocol. It's one of our favorite plays. I'm quite allocated to it as well. But one thing that I really liked about the setup, the price setup here, putting aside fundamentals, even though I think they are correlated to some degree, one of the things that I really loved was that there's this old saying from Cathie Wood And it's something that's generally known about in traditional markets, but it's this term that states the longer the base, the bigger the breakout. Or sometimes the longer the base, the bigger the chase in this case, where basically after price has consolidated sideways for a long period of time, especially when you start to see those higher lows showcasing that the bulls are getting eager, they're stocking up on their positions at higher prices, they're not waiting around. This is the sign that things are going to start going crazy when price does finally get above that resistance and really starts to kick off the trend. And I think we're about to see that here within spring. Either a smaller breakout here, and again, we talked about it a little bit later on in the dash point stuff in the sense of the technical setup, but either sometime here in the spring seeing the full scale breakout or seeing a partial amount now and maybe a partial amount later in the cycle. Either way, ETH is looking like it's going to be outpacing Bitcoin. Now, in regards to the dollar chart here, again, looking at history, guys, I think it's very clear here. And again, it's not meant to be rude by any means, but I know many people were saying we were going to get ETH rolling over to $1,800 again, or going down to $1,500 or $1,000. And I think it's abruptly clear now that that's not going to happen, and that we're more likely than not going to be testing back up towards this kind of upward channel here for price, where we can see that we've been generally setting in higher lows and higher highs. So this could really put us on pace here going into the spring to see a $5,000 Ethereum, if not more than that, if we really continue to pick up this momentum. And just again, continue the upward trend here. We can see here that when Ethereum starts to move within this channel, it's a pretty straight line, vertical, right? Sometimes with some interjections here, we pull back a bit, but nothing to be too fearful of, because after that, we continue the smooth uptrend. And this, again, has to do with the fact that Ethereum right now is going through a very healthy period of time of monetary policy. We've got ETH2, the merge in this case, or one of the first major steps of the major network upgrades that Ethereum has planned to come out here sometime in Q2. So it's one of those kind of buy the hype, sell the news type events where, of course, before the event, we're going to see market price continue to appreciate. But on top of that as well, there's actually a lot of good reason not to just treat it as a short-term trade event, and why Ethereum could probably hold most of its gains. And it has to do with the fact that with this new merge to proof of stake, the inflationary aspects of Ethereum are going to drop dramatically. And in fact, it might even get to towards a point here, especially with EIP 1559, which is burning a certain amount of ETH used on the network per transaction. This is possibly going to put Ethereum into deflationary territory. And that is incredibly important to understand, that even if we don't turn deflationary, if we're just maybe at 0.1% or 0.5% inflation, this is a monetary policy better than Bitcoin. It's better than any other crypto asset out there on the planet, especially for its scale. In this case, now there might be some altcoins or some speculative coins that have no, liquidity or don't really have themselves established. They might have really deflationary elements, but this is really potentially going to be the first major crypto to be truly deflationary, where it has a reduction in supply every single year available in the circulating supply. So again, the price isn't lying here, guys. It's been trending higher. We doubled down on our ETH position back here around 2,900, and it looks like it's been paying off so far. And again, we have a long-term perspective. It's not a short-term one. Last but not least, I wanted to take again a look at one of my favorite on-chain analytics to just kind of again hone in on the point as to why Bitcoin is likely to start appreciating as well as Ethereum, and that's the one-year HODL wave. As you all can see here, we have now surpassed the previous high range back here in October 2020, right before price started to circumvent higher. And along with that as well, we can see back here when the HODL wave was at even lower range here, but at a similar range where we'd seen a heightened amount of Bitcoin not moving in the last year. That's when Bitcoin's price started to surge, right? And now we're back at this point here around 64%, where it doesn't even look like the data science model, this metric, is going to start declining any time. So it looks like it'll probably continue on to 65, 66%. Now, why is this important? It has to do with the supply contraction. There's not enough Bitcoin on the open market that's being actively traded or sold, and that's leaving the order books to be quite thin, so that when buyers start to come in, prices are going to start continuing to move higher. And it's going to happen much quicker than people will think here for Bitcoin to be able to retest back up to this range. It just takes a little bit more Bitcoin being moved with the market, the slightly more confident price action than what we had back here, back a couple months ago in the first quarter of 2022, and a good catalyst or reason for a couple of institutional investors to buy some positions, even retail traders, and boom, you start seeing price get back up to 65K really quick, and potentially even setting in a third new significant all-time high since really back in 2021, where we've had these kind of zigzagging mid-cycle corrections, mid-cycle rallies. And I think this time we could see Bitcoin get back above that range, setting new all-time highs, but on top of that, make that previous resistance range of higher highs, make that into new support. All right, so what we generally see here, as we've had drawn on the chart for some time, is that after we go through this kind of May rally, even if we get a slight pullback here in the middle of the month, we would still continue higher here, get well up here towards around 75, 90K for Bitcoin's price, come down, make that support, and going from August or September, really starting to charter into November and December up towards around 150 to 200K. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, guys. I don't want to pretend to know exactly how it's going to play out. But I think that this really gives us a solid roadmap here of what to expect for Bitcoin's price. And we're just seeing from the price action itself, we're seeing from the data science models, we're seeing from the fundamental shifts for some of the major altcoins like Ethereum and their monetary policy that right now, so long as demand stays relatively similar, and I don't see after all the things we've gone through over these past few months how demand would wane at all. More than anything, it would just probably pick up. There's no way price can really start to go lower from this point, unless there's some black swan, some unforeseen event, right? And again, the likelihood of that is quite small. We've been consistent on this point that we have been through the worst of it, that this was a mid-cycle correction, and now is not the time to lose sight. Now is the time to focus here on the broader trend, to take a look at those long-term time frames, turn off the chart, and again remind yourself that Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these cryptos continuously make higher lows and higher highs on a long-term time frame and are some of the best performing assets out of any asset class. So anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for letting me ramble on today. If you liked the video, drop a like. Thank you all again for your patience and waiting for me to get some content out. It's been nice being back in the States. I've gotten to spend some time with family and had a little bit of time to just take a breath of fresh air, and down in Florida at the moment. So I'll be attending the Bitcoin Miami conference. If you guys will be there, we'll definitely love to see you all. There's a link down below in the description if you guys want to get a discount off tickets. But even if you're not going to be there, guys, hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.